Hey guys, sniped some new gear on eBay this week by taking advantage of just some sellers who really didn't know what they were doing, and I was able to get all this stuff for about 25 bucks. What we got here, two really nice, American-made draw knives. They really just need a little bit of cleaning up and a bit of an edge on them. And a nice True Temper hatchet that's actually in really good shape. The edge is about perfect on it. It looks like it's barely been used. It's got a real nice patina. That'll actually restore real nice and be a great piece of gear. And like I said, all this stuff was about 25 bucks used. And not bad, because when you look nowadays, the modern draw knives that you get anywhere, like a hardware store, they're typically Chinese-made garbage, and they're like 30 bucks a minimum. I'm able to get an old, good American-made couple of them for, like 15 bucks for the pair. And how I did this, there's a couple little tricks. Now, eBay used to be a great place to get really cheap vintage gear like knives and axes and old tools. But people have kind of caught on to it, and the prices are really going up. So I want to show you a few tricks I use to get this stuff for cheap nowadays. And we're going to do this via the phone. So what we're going to look at is, I typically do this a couple times a day. I go look for vintage gear, knives, things like that, great deals. Now the first trick is to look at odd times of the day and holidays. You gotta remember, there's people selling stuff all over the world, different time zones. Sometimes it makes sense to get up, if you're up 4 or 5 in the morning to go hunting, check some of this eBay stuff while you're taking a dump in the morning or something like that, because you can find a lot of stuff that's going for next to nothing because the person just listed it at a bad time, or they just so happen that their auction is ending on a holiday. And that's how I picked up these. These guys actually were ending Thanksgiving Day, so I went on Thanksgiving Day, was able to pick these up for really cheap. So always be mindful of the time. Holidays, weird times of year. If something happens in the news, something big's going on in the news, get your butt on eBay and start looking for cool vintage gear that you can get through for cheap. So now here, so what I've done is I've done a search for axe head. As you can see, it brings back 1,709 items. And initially it's going to list them by like ending first. And you can see here's like a plum for $10.50, and there's some other garbage in there. But we don't want to look at all this garbage, this new stuff, this whatever. So we're going to change our condition to used only. And we're going to redo that, and that's going to bring up just the used old vintage gear. So now you're seeing, here's a some old axe head for $6.99 plus shipping is $7. Lots of $3, all different kinds of axes. Some of them for 20s a dollar, 20, 30, 40 bucks. Some of them are for $4 and $5. Now, here's how you can get great deals, because you have to take advantage of the people on eBay who don't know what they're doing. Now, oftentimes people will get things or find things and want to sell them just to make a quick couple of bucks. And to find those people, what you want to do is change your buying format to buy it now. So you just want to look at the buy it nows, and instead of ending soonest, you want to look at newly listed. Now what this is going to show you is the stuff that people just listed. And occasionally what happens, and you'll see something like old axe or old Camillus knife or military knife, and the people will want like $5 for it. And if you're quick enough on the draw, you can pick this stuff up before somebody else gets it. So usually a couple times a day I'll go on, particularly maybe if I'm on the phone at work and someone's boring the hell out of me or something, I'll do a quick search and I'll look for newly listed items under like military knives, vintage knives, axes and stuff like that. And occasionally you'll see people pop up with these really great pieces of gear and all they want is like $5 for them. And you can snipe them up real quick. So pay attention to when you're looking, different times of the day, holidays, during big news events. Check for newly listed item. And the third is to look under general and vague terms. For example, you might look under, say, vintage. Bear with me here, I'm trying to do this. Vintage hunting knife. And what that's going to pop up is these vintage knives. And of course, you're going to want to follow. You could look at the newly listed, but I don't want to do that right now. I want to do the ending soonest and all of them, just because. And occasionally, I should have pre-searched this and found an example, but occasionally what will happen when you're going through here is you'll see some listing with like a fuzzy, out of focus picture, and it'll say just like old knife or military knife or World War II knife or whatever, and the person will actually be like a really nice Camillus or a Cattaraugus knife or something like that, and the person's mislabeled it or misspelled it. Particularly when it comes to things like Camillus or Cattaraugus or K-bar. Some people spell K-A-B-A-R. Some people K-A-B-A-R. Some people, I've seen K-A-B-E-A-R, K-bear. You know, so sometimes it helps to try misspellings of some of these items as well. If you're looking for a particular axe or knife like a Camillus, maybe to misspell it, put 2 M's, 1 L, 2 S's, you know, or something like that, and try and find people's mistakes, because I've done that before where people have mislabeled items with a spelling mistake. Like here's one right here, guys. This one here says vintage hunting knife, 8.5 inches. Now we don't know what this is, but it's an older vintage knife, probably American made, carbon steel kind of thing. This is the kind of gear I look for. And then you check and you look through the pictures and see if there's a tang stamp, because you know what, this could be a really old K-bar, you know, that somebody just mislabeled. So I always like to go through and look at those very vague, you know, postings that really don't have much to them. See, like here's one here. You see them too a lot, you know, like these ones with question marks after it, because the person really doesn't know what they are. You see them, like these vintage hunting knife. And I just kind of check them out, because you know what, it's not every day, guys, but every once in a while you'll find something really cool that somebody mislabeled or misspelled or whatever, and you can really cash in on it and find great deals on eBay if you're willing to do your part. So I just kind of wanted to share that because, you know, for example, I got these Thanksgiving morning, but I tell you, every Cattaraugus knife I've picked up, or Camillus knife, these old vintage knives that I like to buy, I've picked up pretty much every one of them because somebody made a mistake listing it on eBay. So if you really pay attention and you really are careful and you know, consistent about this and check, you know, a couple times a day maybe, you can really come out with some good gear at really great prices, because there are quite a few knives I've actually picked up for literally $1.99 or $2.99 and put them in the collection because somebody, you know, made a mistake. And sometimes people have really nasty, dirty, fuzzy pictures, and if you send them a message and say, hey, this picture's out of focus, can you send me a nicer one, they'll send you one. And sometimes it turns out these items that no one really is interested in are really nice gear that the person just doesn't know how to work a digital camera. So I just wanted to share, because I'm always picking stuff up like this, guys. I don't do it on every video. You don't get to see it all the time, but I'm constantly picking up little things like this and adding it to the collection for cheap, because honestly, you know, I can't afford a $50 draw knife right now, but I can afford 2 of these for, you know, it's probably about $20 for the 2 of them. And that's a great investment, and it's a great tool to have and to work with and to learn how to use. So hope you guys enjoyed, and you know, don't steal all my good buys out there.